Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take another look at XRP, see what's going on. We got a pretty solid power of 3 trade setup here, as well as a consolidation at that 2 to 205 range. So nice amount of volume too, as well. All things considered, I'll explain more about that on smaller time frames. But the overall sentiment here is that we're bottoming out nicely, and I think the likelihood of further upside for XRP is higher. And most of that is based on the simple fact that I feel Bitcoin will continue to push towards 86, 87,000. If you haven't watched my Bitcoin analysis, it's a simple way to understand it. It's got a lot of bullish confirming factors, a lot of bullish patterns, and we got tremendous amount of support between 83 and 84,000. As that continues to build, the bullish rectangle is likely to push up. That could factor in here for XRP, and likely should, because XRP has done well when Bitcoin does well. So there's that. Anyways, that's more so in the last week, not necessarily the overall, but the macro trend is still descending, so we want to be mindful of that too. What we also need to be mindful of, and this is super important, is to always hit that like button every single time you watch my video, because we get less than 5% of people watching these videos, finding benefit, commenting, and seeing how awesome it is, and yet they fail to hit the like button. It's really simple, folks. Click the button every single time. Thank you very much. Deeply appreciate it. So 208 right now. We're in the middle of this range, if you will. Massive liquidation at 220 and 195. So we're pretty much smack dab in the middle of this range. Not too much can be extracted from the liquidation, except for the fact that we do have a little bit more macro liquidation above us than below us. Okay, so more people are trying to short than long from a larger time frame perspective. Now, same can be said with the shorter term time frame as well. Liquidation delta is quite low or high to the upside, and that basically is disadvantageous for people trying to take longs right now. It's getting suppressed. Okay, so the truth is you don't really want to take a long against that. That's usually how it works. However, the power of 3 trade setup plus the overall market conditions looking quite positive, $2 being a favorable support, the likelihood I think of going up is higher, and that the potential of squeezing out these late shorts is pretty high. And I'll explain more so about why I feel like the power of 3 could be playing out here. But the truth is, open interest, we have a lot more above us than below us. This kind of reaffirms that resistance, or essentially that shorting prowess right now we can see right now with a lot of folks trying to short. So all that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the daily and kind of work our way down. So daily time frame, this is what I just kind of got to remind you too, because some people put their blinders on. They get emotionally invested in coins, and they seem to forget that we're in a descending trend. So please recognize, while we're tentatively above the 20-day SMA, we've been maintaining above that for about 3 or 4 days. The 50 is above us here at 223. So if you're going to see, you're going to take a long, you don't take a long to the metaphorical moon, right? That's just stupid. People shouldn't be doing that anymore. If you're going to take a long, you secure profits between the local high, which is 225, or the point of control at 240. Okay, so a better case scenario for this coin is to push up to 240. That's the immediate resistance. So that's kind of where we're at there. Everything else is tentatively bullish, and what I mean by that is we're getting there. We're not quite there yet. I like that we're over our SMA on the RSI. That's very important. Money flow index is high. That's kind of a hidden indicator, or some people call it a hidden bullish convergence. I hate the word hidden when it comes to analysis, because it's so very transparent that there's nothing really hidden here. But the truth is, it's a very good sign on the macro here. The only thing is we're below 50 on the RSI. That's usually construed as a resistance level, just kind of reaffirming that this 215 range is a strong resistance. Okay, and when we look at the 4-hour time frame, it's probably a little easier to see here, but you can kind of see this little guy right here, 215. That's the resistance range here for us. Okay, now it's just a loose line on the chart, but the key takeaway here is that getting above that's going to be important. Okay, until we get above that, we can presume the price may continue lower. Once more locally here, 215, 214 is that resistance for us, or the most amount of control based on volume we can see. Now, when we look at the RSI, we're kind of hovering above and below 50 on the RSI. This is one of those compression type of situations that's more likely to break up than down based on the price moving from the downside. In other words, we're in kind of an ascending type of channel. The likelihood of bouncing off this channel is quite high. So I think further upside would make sense. But obviously, if it doesn't break out soon, there is potential for further breakdown. But in the past here, we've seen $2 work as a strong support, and so far we've seen that as well here. Let's talk about this power of 3 and call it a day. If you're not familiar, power of 3 is a good trade setup that really is a manipulative pattern. So what it boils down to is it's one of these things here where the price action will work itself into a accumulation phase, And then manipulation is the swing down, and then we see an expansive wave above that. Okay, so if you kind of see this power 3, 1, 2, 3, we can see that's kind of happening here on the charts. Now, obviously it depends on how you look at it. You know, there's a lot of different things here. I'm not trying to sell you on this either, because this isn't like a guarantee by any stretch. It's just that manipulation is a super common characteristic in trading right now, and it makes perfect sense for these late shorts to be trapped and for the price to expand to the upside here. Okay, just note that this coin, you know, among other coins, has a lot of resistance above it based on the macro perspective, and that, you know, getting through this will require increased volume. Okay, if the volume continues to remain low, then we probably won't break out and continue higher. And a lot of that is predicated on Bitcoin moving towards its 86, 87K range. And I'm still feeling like that is the case. We have a long at 84,500, for example, with Bitcoin, and a long at 133 roughly for Solana. So I do really think that XRP is due to break out here, but by no means is this like a breakout type of pattern from a traditional standpoint. But I do think that there's a lot of manipulative scenarios here that could factor in to push the price action higher. So those are my thoughts. I hope that makes sense. I described it correctly. I hope you learned something today too. Please comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think XRP is going up or down? You think $2 is going to hold? Join us over on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord if you haven't yet already. And make sure, if you are part of my community, you're using Bitunix, and take advantage of this little deposit reward bonus. There's a nice little bonus going on between now and April 26th. Okay. All right, folks. Have a good rest of your day. Look forward to seeing you next one. Take care of yourself out there. Bye-bye.